Hey, how are you? Morning. Karen, morning.
Given the firepower you have in your running back room, how disappointing was it, that group was kind of held in check for the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think to have a successful offensive play, it takes really everybody. It takes the play caller, right, getting the play in efficiently. It takes us being able to identify the players that we need to block, the ones that we're not going to be able to block, and the ones that when we block them and we're in combination, that we have to move them, and then the backs have to run where they're not, and we say that. So again, it's not just the players that we have that we're handing the ball to. It's everybody, and again, we have a lot of confidence in the running backs, but also we have to be able to have a great execution in any scheme, whether that's a zone scheme, gap scheme. Um, and so again, the bottom line is we have to run the ball better and we have to run it more efficiently, because then I think that all opens up, some more of the stuff that we're doing and can do and want to be able to do, so that it's not just a drop back passing game.
You guys went away from the run a lot in the second half. I don't think Ramondre or Travion did any carries. Was that just because the run game was inefficient?
Yeah, it wasn't one of our better plays, and again, we just have to take advantage of the plays that we do call and hit it when we have guys open, and just being able to start the second half and being able to go down there and continue that drive, and unfortunately, not turn it over and be able to create some momentum in that situation.
Mike, you talked about this real briefly after the game, but with the benefit of hindsight, any more thoughts about deciding to punt with roughly 5%?
I mean, I don't think so. I think that the way that the game was going, I mean, again, hindsight, yeah. I mean, if we were going to get the 4th and 10 and go down there and score a touchdown and stop them, and but they don't let us do that. We have to make a decision. You have to be decisive, and then once you do that, you have to execute on the field. And so we weren't good enough. It didn't turn out to be the right decision, and it didn't turn out to be the right execution. And unfortunately, when you get into those situations, down 2 scores like that, everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be perfect. And so that's why you have to avoid those situations at all costs.
Mike, on the radio this morning, talking about the run game, you mentioned something along the lines of, there might be issues that a team presents us. They might be in a certain front, and then we have to get away from it, or we think we have to get away from a certain front. Did they give you something that you weren't expecting?
Well, there were different pieces and different guys moving at different parts of the area, and whether we wanted to run a play at a certain player, you're never going to know. And I think we just have to rely on our base rules, base fundamentals. Block the bigs and block the backers, and again, you're going to have to do something to get to safety, and sometimes the corners are the ones that are left in some of these run games. So, because you either can RPO it, you can read somebody, or they're going to have a player, again, widest from the formation that in theory is free. So we have to pick something each play and decide how we want to run it, but not be tentative and making sure that we're never going to be perfect, right? You just want to be precise, and I think that that's going to be the message to us going forward, is how we improve. And we can't rely and we can't think that every play is going to be perfect. It's never going to be that way. And when it isn't perfect, that we somehow have some sort of reaction, and we need to make sure that we have a great response and continue to stay positive and have positive plays, overcome whatever penalties and things that we have to fix, and we have to protect the ball. We have to make sure that we protect the football, and that it takes everybody.
Mike, I think you use those terms with great, precise, and perfect. How do you get him to that?
Well, I mean, that's the challenge. I think everything that we do, we always want to be competitive and do it the right way. But then, there just can't be any sort of block that keeps us from just going and playing a game and knowing that it's not going to look great at times, but it's going to be making a play. And somebody has to do that, and just somebody on defense has got to beat their guy or tip a pass, intercept the ball, knock it out, and just, again, there's a scheme to it. There is, and I don't say that by going rogue. There's a scheme to it, but then throughout the course of the game, there's somebody makes a play.
You guys were mostly successful when you blitzed, but it seemed like the four-man pass rushes weren't quite as effective. What did you see from the blitzes versus the four-man rushes that kind of caused that disparity?
Yeah, I did like our blitz demeanor most of the day. That wasn't great. Certainly on the touchdown. But I think when you blitz, it's about timing and, about being where you're supposed to be. If you're supposed to come under the back to free up somebody else that's coming, those things that we did, then it was effective. I think we had some good four-man rushes. There were times where guys won, whether we're going to rush straight or whether we're gaming. Just having an understanding of where the slide is or who you're working with on a particular side, whether he's going to be behind the B gap and you need to wrap around, or where they're winning on the edge and we need great push in the middle. So those are kind of things that come up with a four-man rush, and we'll continue to work them. Can't live in a blitz world.
Keyshawn Booby, just what allowed him to start the season off strong, and how much growth did you see from him off season? Of Todd Downing last week just said it was sort of night and day between him as a professional from the spring.
Yeah, that's a lot of positives there. I think his comfort level and us and everybody and what we're doing, and I would say his professionalism, the way he came in and prepared, and knew a lot of spots. Played a bunch of different positions in camp, which gave him a really good role, which then grew. I think the quarterback trusts him. I think he's got good play strength at the top of the route. So just looking forward to continue to improve, and so just happy for him that he's been able to have success from the spring till now.
Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
When it comes to the running backs and who you put on the field, of the 71 snaps, I think Ramondre had the bulk of them. Was this sort of predetermined, or how much of that is based on the way the game moves?
Well, I think some of it is just based on the play and the flow of the game, and knowing that they're all going to have a role, and Travion's going to have a role, and Ramondre is going to do some things. So I don't think it's ever going to be perfect, and we have to evaluate everything to make sure that we're getting it right based on volume, who's playing, who's getting the ball, who's trying to get the ball. It's hard to always dictate when we throw it who gets it, but whatever the scheme is that we're executing it and being able to stay balanced.
What did you see from Jalen Hawkins yesterday, just now having gone back?
Well, I think that there was an energy. I thought that he made a few splash plays, a few productive plays. He blitzed well and found the quarterback and was in great position on the tip ball. And then some missed tackles showed up, and those things we have to correct. So, again, just trying to put it in the buckets of continuing to teach the good, the bad, and the stuff that gets you beat. And we have to, make sure that we're fixing the bad stuff and then eliminating the stuff that gets us beat, and, understanding, all the little details of all three phases and putting it together, tying it together. Defense had 3 and outs, and we managed 3 points. That's complementary football is not going to exist, and we're not going to win games if our defense can do that, and we only manage 3 points. So there'll be times that we're going to need the offense to help us and possess the football longer to help the defense. And when we get 3 and outs like that, the offense is going to have to do something. And when we do kick field goals, we'll have to make them. So, again, just showing everybody how those things tie in. And then we talked about the second half. And I think we got into the drive and then quickly got out of the drive, and then we gave up a touchdown. So, it was tough.
Mike, is there the defense?
Is there anything with Drake? Is there any chance you feel like there might be too much on his plate right now? You talked about him maybe wanting to play perfect or maybe looking tentative.
Well, again, I think we have to evaluate that. We have to find out, is there something there, or we just got to, figure out what our guys do best and do that. And, because if you do that, right, then you have to be really good, as opposed to trying to scheme or get into the right situation. Again, we just make sure that we're giving them answers, but trying not to give them too much. I think that's always the balance and the fine line.
How'd you feel about the defense's tackling overall? It seemed pretty solid against the run, but there were some inconsistencies.
Well, there's some space plays. There's some space plays. We know how difficult it is to get them down in space and making great decisions and being able just to get on to the next play and making sure that we come to balance. We cast the net, use our arms, use our length, not go off the diving board, take great angles, and then everybody else has to run and try to get there. We probably missed some hammer attempts to find the football and be able to hammer it out. And so those are great teaching moments. And confident that we'll improve and we'll again, we're going to learn together. We're going to win together. We're going to stick together through this.
Milton played a career high 49 snaps. Christian Barmore played a lot more than he did last year. How'd you see those guys respond to the amount of play?
Well, I thought Milt was disruptive and, again, had some really good plays. And I think that when he sees how he can mix his, penetration in with playing with his hands and playing with some technique and those things all factored, and then he'll start to finish more. But I thought he showed well and continued to go. But, we lost. So nobody played well enough. Nobody coached well enough for us to win. But there were some encouraging things.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thanks.